All right. So our team is Team Zimbabwe, and as you can see from that picture, that was the team that went on to represent Zimbabwe at the first Global Challenge in Geneva, Switzerland in 2022. So we had the privilege of actually getting to present during the New Tech Experience, which was part of the first Global Challenge. So the sector that we chose for this type of competition was called agriculture, forestry, and other land use. So as the Zimbabwe robotics team, we chose this sector because we realized that according to recorded statistics and many of the problems we face firsthand, this is the major contributor to carbon emissions. So this was the main reason why we had to go with. Sorry, what was that?
Go on. Go for it.
Okay. So now we have realized that in recent years, the continuous accumulation of carbon dioxide emissions has produced a series of environmental problems, such as global warming and frequent outbreaks of extremely severe weather. Therefore, carbon emissions reduction has become an important topic of concern for all countries globally. And green development has also become a critical factor in promoting the transformation of the global economic structure. So during our research, we had to go through structured interviews used to collect data and sample composition, as well as consulting health professionals, farmers, students, and the general public. So as researchers, this is something we really need to pay attention to because when you're trying to find a solution to a certain problem for your community, you're supposed to consult those guys in your community because they're the ones actually facing the problem. And oftentimes, scientists or researchers tend to actually forget that important aspect of actually consulting the people in the community. And then what happens is you end up creating a solution to a problem that's actually not there. So this was one of our biggest steps. And also from the responses, we identified agriculture as the major contributor of CO2 in our community. So we have moving on to the statistic side of things. We actually noted that Zimbabwe emitted 64 million metric tons of greenhouse gases in 2011, and the land use change and forestry sector was the primary emitter, contributing about 59% to overall emissions. The energy sector was responsible for 20% of emissions, followed by agriculture, which had about 18%, then industrial processes, which had 2%, and the waste 1% had 1% of those emissions. So emissions associated with agriculture, forestry, and other land use activities are projected to rise shortly due to a projected increase in food production and land conversion as the population is rapidly increasing. So the increasing emissions are mainly due to deforestation, agricultural emissions, and plastic litter. Zimbabwe's economy highly relies on agriculture and forestry. However, the economic constraints have seen many workers in the agriculture, forestry, and other land use sector resorting to agricultural methods that are highly contributing to the increase in carbon emissions. These agricultural methods include, okay, right. Well, these agricultural methods include extensive input of pesticides and fertilizers to raise crops on a smaller land area and clearing land to graze livestock and grow feed. So in present day Zimbabwe, there's an increase in urbanization as well. So this has led to many legal settlements, some even establishing residential stands on wetlands, This has led to the destruction of the natural carbon sinks. The destruction is mainly due to plastics being frequently disposed of in wetland areas, leading to increased amounts of carbon in the atmosphere. And also, owing to the inability of the national power reserves to provide sufficient electrical energy to its valued customers and the high cost of electricity per kilowatt, many have resorted to the use of firewood and burning plastic waste. Burning plastic waste as it speeds up the process of lighting up the firewood or any form of energy source. Then this has, however, led to an increase in carbon emissions in the atmosphere as well. So these are some of the problems that are related to the carbon emissions, the contributors to the carbon emissions, mainly in our community. So on the other hand, the high rate of deforestation as compared to the rate of afforestation and reforestation is highly unbalanced, and this is also leading to less atmospheric carbon filtration as there is excess destruction of yet another natural carbon sink. So after outlining all these problems that we are experiencing firsthand, we had to come up with a solution plan. So our solution plan was to come up with a biodegradable plastic, which I'll be explaining in the next slides. So due to the increasing number of issues such as climate change, sustainable development has become an important theme worldwide. Sustainable development is inseparable from technological innovation. And only by making technological innovation, uh, uh, we can ensure the overall integration of economic growth and environmental protection. And so our proposed solution was making plastics out of cassava. Not sure if many have heard of it. So as one of the most drought tolerant crops and high in resistant starch, cassava is one such crop that promises to fuel a paradigm shift in the reduction of carbon emissions in our environment if it is adopted and used not just for human consumption, uh, but for other potential benefits it carries. So cassava is the sixth most important crop in terms of global annual production and is widely spread across parts of our nation, Zimbabwe. However, during our research, we found out that the starch contained in the root could be just the major solution we're looking for to tackle the problems we face. So, as Team Zimbabwe, we have come up with an idea of making biodegradable plastic from extracting cassava starch from the crop cassava. So, mainly this plastic will be retrofitted to the environment and already existing systems in order to fast pace the elimination of non-biodegradable plastics littered around wetlands and other areas. The plastic from cassava can be joined together with the littered plastics in order to make briquettes. So I'm not sure if many of us have heard of briquettes, but then they are actually considered. It's basically matter that has been compressed and used as a fuel. So it's actually eco-friendly. So these briquettes will replace the use of firewood, thus reducing the cutting down of trees and promoting the seventh SDG of affordable and clean energy. So when making briquettes from plastic waste and our cassava plastic, the materials are collected and go through a process of being dried and then refined and possibly shredded. They are then formed using intense pressure while containing no chemicals, no adhesives or additives. Um, so due to this, they are considered to be the most economical solid fuel available on the market. So this brings back to the point that I was saying. They are they are eco-friendly and can be used without any emissions. So I'm just going to outline the key benefits of our project that we did. So the plastic degrades after 3 to 4 weeks, and that is if we don't have maybe a catalyst, and a catalyst in this case would be hot water to quickly dissolve the plastic. But then if we're just going to wait for it to decay on its own, it's going to take us at least 3 to 4 weeks. And another key benefit would be that it contains no chemicals that are harmful to humans, animals, or the environment. So apart from just extracting the starch, the community can also benefit from the same cassava root differently. Flour to make bread can be obtained from the root, and this will pave way for employment creation in the community. And people will also not have to rely solely on flour obtained from wheat, as there will be other alternatives. And the leaves of cassava are rich uh, in a protein, which helps to fight against kwashiorkor, which is caused due to protein deficiency. Then during our research, we had to go through community outreach, and through this we launched 3 planting campaigns. And this was just our small part that we're playing in our research that we're doing. And we've had awareness campaigns and programs, which included visiting farmers near local school, then cleanup campaigns in our communities and the school, then also raising money to provide bins in public schools and a few communities to separate organic from inorganic materials. So this is just the small part that we have played in trying to solve some of the problems in our community. So here's a picture of the prototype that we made. It was not it wouldn't be like your normal plastic that you'd expect to see every day, but this can actually be improved if we get adequate adequate equipment to actually make a proper plastic out of the simple plastic that we had. And I've provided a link below. Okay, I would have to type that in the chat, but that link would take you to one of CNN's documentary that they recently launched. We featured in one of the documentaries by CNN, and we were just explaining what project we made for the carbon countermeasures. So that's just a picture from the footage, and yeah, that was what we were wearing during our opening ceremony at the first global challenge in Geneva, Switzerland. And now that's the rest of the team with the medals, and the medals they got from the from winning the XPrize Innovator Award. So that's all from me.
All right, thank you. All right, does anyone have any question? All right, I do have one question myself for Bless. Through all of the outreach and all of these innovations that you guys have done, what was the most restriction or challenges that you guys faced and have overcame?
Well, the main challenges would have been was the issue of communication, because in some communities they really did not understand where we're coming from, or even to note what carbon emissions are doing to our environment and our atmosphere. So the main problem was to try and convince people of a problem they're already facing. Of course, some already understood what we're talking about, but then some were not really understanding what the whole program or the purpose of our work was. So that was the main challenge we faced.
Yes.